everybody. This is Enrique. I'm here with Madelaine Gomes, uh, uh, my partner, and in terms of what we're about to do. We were talking, and we've been chatting for more than months, and we had decided that we would do this for Sundays, and this is when God speaks. And I'm so excited to go down this journey because it's a part uh, of the life of a person that a lot of people don't take advantage of. They don't speak about too often because they feel it may rub somebody the wrong way or not. But I'll tell you that had it not been for God in my life, all of my successes would not be what they are. I There's a lot of people that succeed outside of the walk of God. But in my journey, I know I would not be where I am without it. So, Madelaine, thank you for joining me in this venture. And I'm going to just give you a couple of minutes to share your heart, and then we'll go into a couple of stories. And hopefully, this will resonate with you that are listening and can help you make some decisions, or see things a little more clearer. But Madelaine, thank you.
Enrique, thank you. And I think this is an amazing opportunity for us. Enrique and I, we were talking about leadership initially, and we kept on saying that we wanted to start a program about leadership, but we end up every single time talking about God. And it just so happened, and it never stopped. And then I said to Enrique, I make notes of when God speaks, what do we do? And we decided to start this program to touch people's lives, to touch your heart, and also to reconnect you to our higher source, basically. Intellect, infinite intelligence that we've got available. And I will also share some of my stories because I have been on the side of believing, not believing, and back to believing. And I had many mystical experiences in believing, not believing, and believing that I can share with you and touch you, and maybe you can relate to that. So I'm very excited about this opportunity.
Yes, I am as well. And I'll start right off, right, because this is what we're talking about when God speaks. Now, I want to uh, tell everybody that God is always speaking. He's always speaking. It's just us not always listening. And let me give you an example, right? So this weekend I was sharing with Madelaine. I had what I would call a once in a lifetime offer. I will tell you that I have not had in 49 years anyone reach out to me like I was this last weekend. And it was concerning a position at the executive level, paid very well. The benefits that came with it were, blow your mind. And I decided that I would take a different turn at this opportunity as I had before. Before, I would just jump on the first opportunity given, not knowing what it will, result in, but just knowing that I would give it all my all and it would be successful, right? And that's why I mentioned sometimes people are successful outside of the realm of God in terms of that they go at it without counsel, right? Without seeking his advice. This time I did seek God's counsel. I did seek my family's counsel. And I weighed all the things that would be good and that would not be so good. And we ended up with deciding that we would not take it. For most people out there right now in this current situation that we're in the world, you would be like, what? You didn't take what? It came to you and you didn't take it? But let me tell you something. Um, I'd rather be a poor man in peace than a rich man without peace. I'd rather keep my peace and my joy and the love that I feel than get any earthly gain, right? Because my life is not about earthly gain anymore. It's about eternal gain, and in that aspect, the decision, although it was hard, it was difficult. You talk about 2 days of stress in my house. It was stressful. We just because some of these offers that come to you, they seem like it's God. It seems like it's, oh, God threw this at me, but you have to listen. Um, and I'm not saying that the offer was meant with ill intent or anything. What I'm saying is, God knows your future better than you. And so if you don't go to Him to seek whether that's the right thing for you at the time, then what you'll do is you'll create some missteps that you probably won't be recovering from if you didn't. So, long story short, we decided not to. And I cannot tell you the amount of peace that we felt and the amount of peace that we still feel on that decision. Now, we are also committed to praying for that company, that they would find the right leader for them for this time. And so that's important as well. Are you, saying no and then forget, because what they were looking for was somebody that fit my bill. And so we're praying for them that they will find the right person to take them to the successes that they're planning to have, without skipping a beat. And so that's what we done it. But I tell you, that was a great opportunity, and I wish whoever ends up with that job all the best and all the success in the world. We'll definitely be praying for them. Yeah, that was my weekend, and it's amazing where all these wonderful things can come your way, but is it God speaking? And that's what I was focused on. That's what my family was focused on. And so yeah, we're still equally as blessed as we was that Friday, before we got the call. Um, but a good thing has happened is that now that person is getting prayed for. They don't even know it.
Yeah, yeah. And isn't it beautiful that you build this relationship with your inner connection, and your family's got that inner connection? And I believe from not having that to where I'm now, that is the most amazing connection. It gives me the most peace in the most troubled situations. I am a woman on my own, so I need to make decisions on my own. I don't have somebody that I can speak to or check with, or that's there, or my back door even open. If something's not working in my life, it's not working, and it's my decision. So I've learned that inner voice that I have is probably the compass of my life, if I can put it that way. And it reminds me of Jonah, that got this instruction from God to go a certain direction, and he thought he's not worthy of doing what he told him to do. So he got to the crossroads when he got the instruction. Instead of turning, shall we say, left, he turned right. And he ran away from that instruction. And with the end result, whether you believe it or not, in a fish or not, he ended up in that fish for 3 days. Now, that fish to me was my life for nearly 7 years, because I also had instructions, I had messages, because I'm very connected and I feel like there's a voice talking to me, when I'm so connected. But I ignored that voice when I had my company. And I didn't listen because I was overriding it with my human thoughts that you could easily do in this position,
Right.
because that's what I did. I had thoughts that if my time is over, I need to move on. I already have the toolbox to be able to move on to where God wants me at that stage, who wanted me to go at that stage. But to me, what I was arguing, and you could easily argue this, is I have all these huge financial responsibilities. I have the family that I'm looking after, and I've got all this, and the list just carries on. So I cannot listen to this voice because it doesn't make sense to me. It put fear in me of as this person responsible for all these people. How am I going to look after them? I don't even know how
Right.
this is going to work. I couldn't see how it's going to work. So I didn't trust and I didn't listen. And I stayed. And my company got targeted by a crime syndicate not long after that. And I lost everything. And you know what? When I lost everything, that was exactly my fear. I cannot listen because how am I going to look after all these people? And then I lost everything. I couldn't look after them. And then it showed me I had all these people because I had no boundaries. I couldn't say no. My self-esteem wasn't in place, and I didn't know that because I was a successful director of a top 10 company.
Right.
So I didn't know that my self-esteem was letting me down, and that my boundaries were not in place. People were using and abusing me, and therefore I had bondage over me that I didn't feel free to move on. And then I didn't have the faith or a listening because my mind stepped in, and I kept on arguing with this voice. And what happened? I went nearly 7 years in the dark night of my soul. Okay, now I look back and I think, okay, I feel like Jonah. I was there, not just 3 days, but what I've learned is amazing. Because when I lost everything, I was very cross with God, very. I thought, where were you to look after me? I believed in you. I prayed every day. I asked for protection of my family, but I lost my brother, I lost my husband, and I lost my father, I lost my business, I lost my home. Where were you? And I was so crazy cross, to put it mildly, that I didn't want to know anything about religion or belief or anything. But the less I wanted to know about it, the more I sank deeper and deeper into that depression, no direction, anxiety, um, not feeling good enough about myself. It was just a pit of literally hell. My only way out was to reconnect and slowly but surely start to trust again, and slowly but surely started to embrace my better habits, better thought patterns, trust the voice within me, and start to, I see it literally climbing one step at a time until I got out of this pit. So therefore, when God speaks, I've learned, I take a minute and I listen. I'm still human. I'm a business person as well. I'm analytical. It's part of my personality. I've learned to embrace that and not crucify that and say,
Right.
okay, let's analyze this and see. But it's not like in a split second anymore. It is like with with peace and prayer that I analyze it and then make a decision. And it is amazing since I'm doing that how my life fell back into place and it's flowing, and I feel slowly but surely I'm moving forward and I'm flowing forward again. And I have this anchor that I didn't have in those years when I didn't want it. But it makes such a difference to my life.
Yeah, you mentioned the analyzing and not crucifying it, and folks need to remember that uh, there's a difference between a cynical analyzation, right?
Mm.
You already go into it trying to find the fault, trying to find, in a almost in a victim kind of way. Who's trying to get at me? Who's trying to get over on me? One thing we can trust is that God never directs us in a way that is against us. You know, He's always trying to direct us in the best way for us.
Mm.
It's how we perceive the things that are coming our way. And I could have, like in my situation, I could have easily said, God sent this. We got to pack. We got to go. We got to do. Like I could easy. Um, but it's not always in the big old loud sounds that God is moving. Sometimes you got to sit back in a cave and listen. It wasn't in the wind, it wasn't in the thunder, it wasn't in the lightning, it wasn't in none of that. It was that still small voice that allows you to understand what it is that God wants you to do. And so in your story, which I tell you, and I've told you this before, what a story of overcoming you have based on all the things that have that have gone on in your life. Some would succumb to it, and just go straight bitter and resentful, and I don't want no part anymore of this. But you found your way, obviously by guidance, your way back to a place where you can now listen. And it's funny, not so much to be the ability to listen, but the desire to listen. Right. So you can have an ability for something, but if you don't have the desire for it, you'll counter your own actions by your thoughts and your expressions and your voice. But when all of that is in sync, and your desire is there, he'll match it with his desire for you, and then it'll all work out. So I don't know how many of you listening out there have had similar situations. What I want to do is take the time to encourage you to find a way to sit still and listen.
Mm.
Find a way to get in tune with the still small voice. And believe me, God does sometimes speak in a thunderclap, right? he he'll speak there and be like, but usually it's not all that good. But it's in the stillness, and in this world right now, we just need a stillness. Everybody just needs to um, consider being still and
Mm.
listening. There's some peace that happens, and most people, they'll tell you, they can sit on a beach and listen to the waves, and just like the world is not even part of their life at the
Mm.
moment. Some people find that in the wilderness, among the trees and the plants, and like nothing, there's no care in the world. Whatever that is for you, find it, sit in it for a little while, and see what God says about your situations and the things that are coming your way. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think that is an amazing way. From my own experience, that's exactly what I do when I have a decision to make now. I take a step back, literally, and I surrender. And I'm not trying to be the superwoman, trying to make the decisions all the time and jump at it and give answers immediately. It doesn't work. There's so much going on in our lives at the moment, and there's so much influence going on around us that you need that time to just surrender, sit back, be in a still space, and just allow your being to connect. And that's where my program comes from, the I am possible. Go into the I am, because that's when you're in your I am. That's where you find the most peace. You find your connection. You're in your best version of yourself. And only good can come from there. We cannot make decisions in this chaotic time just by ourselves. It's humanly impossible. I don't care who says what, it is humanly. impossible. It takes a toll on your mental health if you do that. But if you're in your flow and you tap into that source that we have and it costs us nothing, it is there and all we need to do is tap into it, then we've got the guidance and the protection. And we are sort of, I believe, if you follow that guidance, the doors will open for you. No matter what the circumstances outside there is, no matter about the chaos, your life will be on track. And ultimately, that is what we want.
Yes, I agree. So, folks, we hope that you will join us every. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do this every Sunday. We're gonna release it. Obviously, these are and full disclosure. These are recorded, and we release them on Sundays. But we hope that you will join us Sundays. Get a little extra advice, guidance, or whatever, inspiration, right? If this is the type of stuff that you like to listen to on Sundays, but we really want to basically structure our talks not only just around life, but these things really do talk to leadership. And me and Madelaine, we focus on leadership, but we are also conscious of the fact that this is a critical piece to being a holistic leader, right? Everybody wants to be a great leader, um, but sometimes that's just at work. We're trying to build you up from the ground up so that you could be a leader at all times. And that's really the goal that every leader should have. They should be leading at every moment in their life.
Mm.
And not all things call for, a leadership moment, a leader to arise and, be this, knight in shining armor and just save the world. It's little decisions that really multiply to bad decisions or great decisions, right? So we want you to be able to lead at every moment. And for us, for me and Madelaine, God has been a integral part, if not the most important part, of our ability to lead throughout our lifetime. And so we want to share that with you on Sundays, and I hope you'll join us. And I hope these conversations are fruitful to you and inspirational to you. I won't say motivational, right? Because we can motivate you all day long. Believe me, me and Madelaine got enough content to motivate you for a long time. But we want to inspire you to be greater, inspire you to be the best you can be. And this is just one of those ways. So, Madelaine, I'll let you close out, and then we'll see everybody next week.
Well, I thank you all for listening to us, and please send us your stories and your experiences. I would love to know. I know that we are not the only ones who experience these incidents and Jonah moments in our lives. I'm sure there's many out there, and I would love to hear your story as well, because to me, it's like the hero's journey that you walk, and the most important part is how do you turn your hero's journey into an inspiration, not only for other people, but more importantly for you? What changed in you, and how did that have an impact on your growth and your spiritual life and your habits? And it's so amazing because I see it as a petrol pump up there or wherever it is. I believe it's in the heart, and you tap in there and boom, you've got that amazing connection, and you're not alone anymore. And we are so fortunate to be able to have that. And we're born with that, and it's given to us. Why aren't we using it? And like I said, I've been to the other side as well. So I know what it feels like on both sides. And honestly, if you feel lonely, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel depressed, if you feel anxious, I know those emotions very well. The only way to get past that is truly connect. It gives you strength, it gives you wisdom. I wake up every morning and I say, "Good morning, God. And in the morning that I forget to do that, my day doesn't feel the same. And like halfway through, I think, something's off. And then I remember, oh, okay, I didn't do that because it changed my vibration and it changes my intent for the day purposefully. So I would suggest that you start small steps like that. Good morning, God. And you will see how everything changes for you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That you just reminded me. Next week, everybody, I'll share my morning, and I'll say ritual because it has become that my morning ritual that allows me to not only walk humbly, do justly, and love mercy, but to enjoy every day. So I'll share that with you next week. Madelaine, thank you for being with me on this journey of When God Speaks. And for everybody out there, we'll see each other next week.
Thank you very much.